If you want to land in a Flutter job, nailing the interview is a non-negotiable. I had to fail many, many times in the beginning of my career, and I improved it over time. Whereas we have my friend Aytunc, he has done tons of interviews over the last years, and he realized three common mistakes that people make that cause the candidates to lose the job. Let's dive in before we spend more time. So, mistake number one. What is the first mistake that you spotted, Aytunc?
So the first mistake is not being able to answer follow-up questions. Because everyone knows those, 100 Flutter questions, 50 most popular Flutter questions, and they come prepared. However, after you ask that first question, which is, let's say, do you know the difference between stateless and stateful widget? The answer is always same. People can give a perfect answer, perfect definition. But next up, let's say you are asking them about, for a stateful widget, what's the widget lifecycle looks like. And then 80% of the people are prepared for this question because it's still a shallow question. They tell you all the widget lifecycle events. Some of them even tell you deactivate. Most probably in their life, they never used deactivate. They never overrided it before, but they give the answer because they are prepared. And then you ask them about did update widget. They have a definition for this. But this is the question that I want to ask. Okay, when do you use did update widget? Because it's something that needs to be used. You don't need to be a, engineer. There are lots of cases where did update widget is useful. And when you ask this question, the answer decides if this person has had spent enough amount of time with Flutter. If they can tell you that, when I'm doing animations or when I have such a widget that I need to know the properties coming from the old widget, then yes, you understand, okay, this is a good answer. Only now you will be able to understand this. Another example I might give is about list views. All of the candidates will know what a list view is. When you ask them about this question, how can you have a list view inside of a scrollable widget? Then they might tell you that you can just set the list view's shrink wrap property to true. This is a valid answer. You can have a single child scroll view, and inside of it, you can have another list view. You can set the shrink wrap to true, and it works fine. However, it has implications on the performance. Does this person know about this? Does he or she know about the alternatives? Can they tell you about nested scroll views, custom scroll views, or is all their knowledge about these sliver views only for sliver app bars? These are the questions which can differentiate between a pro developer and the entry-level developer who has only shallow information. What do you think can be done to improve in these kind of situations?
One thing that one can do to improve on interviews is to practice more interviews. When you have not done interviews, you're going to suck in the first 5 interviews that you're going to have. This is guaranteed. And one good way to do this is to use ChatGPT to prepare your interviews. I tried audio version of ChatGPT and it was like a real interviewer. You can improve yourself with this mock interviews.
Was ChatGPT really that good? How close do you think it was to a real interview?
If you don't have a real person that is going to do an interview with you, I think it is the best alternative. Let's continue with mistake number 2, which is forgetting the importance of soft skills. I think most developers think that it's all about their coding skills. If they are just good at writing good code, they will get hired. And if they just excel in the interview technically, they're going to get the job. But it is not that easy. I remember in one of the interviews, the candidate didn't even open the camera. No matter how good the developer that person is, they're not going to get the job. That's for sure. Like, you have to open the camera.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, one thing that we measure is how much that person fits into our culture, because you don't want to work with a jerk in the team that is bullying everyone. And if I'm not going to have a coffee with you, I will probably don't want to work with you. it doesn't matter how good you are. One way that you can improve on this is to attend some meetups, just socialize more and improve your human skills. Over time, you will get better at this. Rather than being a top performer person but low social skills, it would be better to have high social skills and decent technical knowledge. I think it is that important. So what is mistake number 3, Aytunc?
This I give very importance to. The mistake number 3 is being unaware of the recent updates and features for whatever technology that you are using. And in our case, it's Flutter. In an interview, the first question is, do you know the latest version of Flutter? Do you know what was the recent changes, the recent bug fixes, the important ones, or newly introduced things? This needs to be answered immediately, because you don't want someone who learned Flutter a couple of years ago and still working with that same resources, and they don't update themselves. Because we are all developers at the end of the day, and we need to update ourselves every day along with the technology. I have been asking candidates about records. When they were first introduced, I wanted to understand if they know what records are, if they know what they solve, and how they are being used. There were a couple of candidates who answered this perfectly and told me that, oh yeah, I experimented with it, and it's helping me avoid creating classes. And this is a perfect answer. This is what I want to hear. What else can be like macros or sealed classes? If they know about these are all good indications. Do you have any suggestions on how people can be better in this mistake number 3?
I think you can subscribe to a newsletter. It could be really helpful. You can join subreddits of Flutter Dev, be involved in the community. And another thing that could help a lot is that when a new feature is out, build a hobby project with a new feature and put it into GitHub. It doesn't have to be a complex app. Interview will look at it and say, this person has already used this, so they will assume that you know the recent stuff. I think that is really important.
Totally agree. Flutter community is so active, so there is no excuse in not doing this. You just need to follow it.
I agree. So these are the 3 common mistakes that people make, that Aytunc spotted them during the interviews that he conducted, and I tried to give advices on how to improving them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video.
And write comments. Bye-bye.